Hello and welcome back to Citizen Speak. I'm your host, Garrett Martin. Thank you guys so much for listening today. I'm going to talk about a school closing that happened in Homer, Michigan, the Lillian Fletcher Elementary School. It's a community school in Michigan, and what happened is that there was a parent who came and last Friday he picked up his son early, signed him out, and he had a weapon, a pistol, strapped to his hip. And the school had informed him that they don't allow guns inside the school. Well, the parent had said that, well, it's his right and he's going to do it anyway, so that's all that there is to it. And the school superintendent, his last name is Wright, he was called, and Mr. Wright had talked to the gentleman and said, while I understand that it is your right to do this, it may not be the right thing to do. Well, they got into a little bit of an argument on Friday, and after that, the cops were called to this man's house, and the cop said the same thing that the superintendent did. The cop said that this might be within your right to carry a firearm on your hip, but the school doesn't like to have guns in it, and it might not be the right thing to do out of safety for the children. And it's a big distraction to the kids who are there. If they see that gun, they're going to get distracted and they're going to think that something's wrong. Now, before I continue, I understand where people who are pro-gun stand on this. They think that, well, if we continue to have these policies that make kids afraid of guns, then of course they're going to be afraid of guns. But if they're around more people who are responsible gun owners, when they see a gun, they're not going to be afraid to be around it. It's kind of instinctual at this point, where if kids see guns, they know that they're very dangerous and that they should be a little bit afraid. So they act very differently around it, and they get very distracted, as they should. So when a parent or someone brings a gun into a school, of course you're going to have the students distracted. Well, the superintendent was interviewed on the story because the guy came back on Monday morning with the gun strapped to his hip. And the superintendent, he said that, lo and behold, the parent came back, gun strapped to his hip. He never made any gesture like he was about to pull out the gun or anything like that. But I had to tell him that it's our policy to go on lockdown out of pure safety for the students. And that's what happened. The school went on lockdown, and all of these kids that are in this elementary school now are being forced not to learn because some parent wants to come and argue a point while wearing his gun and causing a commotion, wanting special attention. That's really what it is. He wants people to notice him and to think that he's a big man because he carries a gun. He could have easily gone inside of the school without a gun on his hip and talked to the superintendent about the whole situation. But nope, he's just testing the police and the school to see if they're actually going to do anything. And the entire time, the superintendent said that this guy keeps saying that it's his rights, that he can do this. And the superintendent just asked the guy to wait out in the school lobby while they do the lockdown and the police are called. And the police came, but by the time the police showed up, the man had already scurried away like a little cockroach when the lights turn on. If this guy really wasn't going to do anything wrong, and he was fully within his rights, then he would have stayed and he would have argued the point until he won. But clearly the guy's off his rocker, so he came and he found out that the police were going to be called on him right then and there, and he ran away. This guy ran away. I'm sorry, but, even if I drive down the highway and there's a cop who comes up behind me, I'm still going to drive the speed limit. I don't slow down. I don't tap on my brakes. I don't drive differently. I'm a good driver, and if a cop comes up behind me, that's completely fine. I'm not going to change how I act because a police officer's behind me, or if I go into a store, I don't wait for my purchases or leave without purchasing something because a cop's in there. No, he's a human being too. I'm not afraid if a cop is there, But apparently this guy is. And you only have to be afraid of cops if you're doing something wrong. Or, unless you're African American in this country. But that's a completely different story here. With this gunman, the police, they were called out to his house actually on Friday night. And they had talked to him, and the guy had said that it was his rights. And when they came today, they had told the school that if he shows up again, that they're going to press charges. They're going to press charges on this guy for bringing his gun into the school and causing it to go on lockdown because it's disturbance of the peace. It's distracting these kids from having their education. If I were a parent at that school, I would be pissed that my school went down on lockdown because some parent, some a-hole, thought that he could abuse what little rights that he thinks that he has to do this. Now, a rebuttal here. Michigan does have a open carry law, and he is within his rights to do that. However, in schools back in October, Michigan had changed the law from where it's an open carry in schools to where it's a concealed carry in schools. Now, there isn't a whole lot of difference there. But the main difference for this law is that you actually have to have a special permit in order to conceal and carry inside of schools. This guy doesn't have it, and that's what he would have been called out on. So he was in the wrong. He wasn't within his rights to bring this gun into the school. He can be a legal gun owner all he wants, but if he's not doing the right thing, he's not doing the right thing. I mean, let's call a spade here. This guy was in the wrong. And there's no way other to look at that because the guy says that he knows his rights. Well, apparently he doesn't. He doesn't know the law that says that he needs a special permit. And they don't give this concealed carry permit for schools just out to anybody. They're not going to give it to just anybody who applies. So, of course this guy's in the wrong. And they had an argument on Friday, the superintendent and this parent. And then he shows back up again on Monday morning. Yeah, there's something very fishy there. And I'm glad that the school went down on lockdown. I think it was a very responsible thing to do. Because the school, they summed it up perfectly. The superintendent, Mr. Wright. He said that you just don't know the mentality of some of the people coming in. Even if you think that you know the person, you just don't know the mentality. That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. Because after a heated argument and somebody has a gun, you want to make sure that the kids are safe. And that's all that it boils down to. Now, if this guy has a special permit, then by all means. If he's a responsible gun owner and he's getting the special permit that he needs, then it's his rights, and that's fine. Each state's different, but that's the way that Michigan does things. And he needs to abide by the law. If he really is a responsible gun owner with no malicious intent, then he'll have no problem applying for that permit and doing what's needed to get it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Find me on Twitter or YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever you're listening to this, and leave me a comment. I want to know what you guys think. I'm always interested in to hear your thoughts and opinions on things. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think I'm wrong, and I want to know that too. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. My name's Garrett Martin. I'm your host here on Citizen Speak. You guys have a great rest of the night.